Apologies for any excessive static noises. Welcome to the blind live stream of Gothic 2. Streamed live on YouTube on the 17th of January 2022. Gothic 2 will be streamed for 2 to 4 hours today. Thanks for watching. Please say hello in the chat and provide feedback. You will not be ignored and will receive a verbal response and a text response when the time is appropriate. Thanks for watching and patience. Also, if you do leave a message in chat and would like a response, please allow the message to be seen and responded. Please do not leave. Thanks. Please invite your friends to chat and watch. Please be aware that this is a blind playthrough. Please avoid any tips, advice and spoilers. Thanks. Please remember to check out other videos on Kallian K's channel.
A single prisoner altered the fate of hundreds. But there you are again.
I feel like I...
Well, so you did.
At least
It is trapped there at where the... But that... Have you... I look...
Well then let's hurry.
If it were...
What can we do?
This time, a group of they possess, they call it tell the and want it...
I'll be on my way as fast as I can.
Good, since I...
himself.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
I'm not telling you anything new.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
I'm no better off myself.
I've heard a thing or two. He didn't get that from me.
That was obvious all along.
It can't go on like this forever.
Is it really true? That's really not my problem.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
I never knew that.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Is it really true?
It was just like you said.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
That was quite obvious.
He never would have thought of that himself.
He really didn't deserve that.
Gothic 2. Blind Life Stream.
If he doesn't
Part
see
2.
that, I can't help him.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
That doesn't surprise me.
Don't say you didn't know that.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
Where did you pick that up then?
Is it really true?
He didn't get that from me.
That's really not my problem.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
I can't believe that.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Don't say you didn't know that.
Will it ever change?
It can't go on like this forever.
Will it ever change?
Many citizens are missing. Nobody seems to know anything. I need to deliver a message to the water mages. I need to persuade the paladins to join our cause to stop this dragon.
I've got my own opinion about that.
I never knew that.
Where did you pick that up, then?
That's been known a long time.
We can only wait and see.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
We can only wait and see.
Hello, stranger. You must be hungry and thirsty.
That was obvious
Perhaps
all
I can
along.
interest you in my wares.
That was quite obvious.
Is it really true?
I need some money, and I'm looking for work.
I've heard that Bosper has trouble with his suppliers. His shop is right over there. They say he pays pretty well.
I've got my own opinion about that.
Is it really true?
What do you have to offer?
At the moment, I don't have much choice. The damned landowner doesn't deliver anymore. And what we get from the small farms isn't enough to meet the demands of the city.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
That was quite obvious.
Tell me more about the peasants'
Not
revolt.
what I heard.
It's quite simple. Onar, the fat landowner, won't pay any more taxes to the city. Imagine, we're at war with the orcs, and that fat slob wants everything for himself. Normally, the city guard would take firm measures in such cases, but now comes the best part. They say Onar has hired mercenaries to keep the troops from the city off his back. Mercenaries! The whole thing will end in a damn war, as if one war weren't enough.
It's a bad business.
What do you know about Onar's mercenaries?
Touching that.
I heard that most of them are former convicts from the mining colony,
true?
and their leader's supposed to have been a big shot with the king, a general or something, whom they put away as a traitor.
That's all
These
just
are
gossip.
terrible times.
Where did you pick that up, then?
Show me your wares.
It's a bad business.
I already thought as much.
You listen to the wrong people.
I already thought as much.
That doesn't surprise me.
I already thought as much.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
He really didn't deserve that.
Do you really believe that?
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
That doesn't surprise me.
I can't believe that.
That's really not my problem.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
I'm no better off myself.
He really didn't deserve that.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Is it really true?
It was just like you said.
But no, he insisted he knew better.
It can't go on like this forever.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
That's all just gossip.
I was actually on my way to see the paladins.
There's little chance of that.
But no,
Since the
he
paladins
insisted he
made
knew
themselves at home in the upper end of town, hardly anyone gets in there anymore.
Do you really believe that?
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
Me? No, I don't have much say here myself. There are a few people in the lower city who have enough influence to get you past the guards. Mateo, my boss, is one of them. Maybe you should talk to him.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
Where can I find Mateo?
You're standing right outside his shop. Just go on in. He's practically always there.
Is it really true?
What about the other influential
Pick
citizens?
that
The merchants and master craftsmen here on the main street are the most important figures in the city. You should try to get accepted by one of them as an apprentice like me. Since I started working for Mateo, the people in the city treat me with respect.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
He never would have thought of that himself.
So why won't they listen to me? Halt! No one may enter the storeroom!
Who to believe these days?
That's the first I've heard of it.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Will it ever change?
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
It can't go on like this forever.
That's really not my problem.
I've heard a thing or two.
Hey, you're new in town, huh?
People.
Yes, and what about you?
I've come from the mainland, and now I'm hanging around here. I'm almost out of gold, so all I can do now is join the militia, I guess. But I don't want to do that. I won't be slaughtered by those orcs on the king's behalf.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I'm not touching that.
What can you tell me about the militia?
One of the paladins has taken command. A certain Lord Andre. He's trying to mobilize half the city in case the orcs attack. But you need to be a citizen of the town in order to be admitted. As far as I know, if you're not a citizen, you can train anyway. But you won't be officially admitted.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
Don't say you didn't know that.
That's not what I heard.
What else can you tell me about Lord Andre?
He has taken over the position of judge as well. If you cause any trouble in this town,
Surprise me.
you're gonna have to answer to him. I was once in a brawl with a citizen. He went crying to Lord Andre and ratted me out. That little matter cost me 50 gold pieces. I was lucky that it happened at night, or others would have witnessed it. The more people complain about you in this town, the higher your penalty will be.
Who did you fight with?
With a fellow named Valentino. He often hangs out in the tavern near the temple. I'm not usually a violent person, but that guy needed his face rearranged in the
Don't tell me you
worst
didn't
way.
know that.
But that's terrible.
Has anything exciting happened?
You could say that. They robbed Bosper the bowmaker. What a brazen thing to do, I tell you. The fellow just ambled into the shop in broad daylight and grabbed himself a bow.
He insisted he knew
And
better.
Bosper right after him, hollering, "Stop right there, you
Really didn't
rogue!"
deserve that.
But the thief was too fast.
Really didn't deserve
It's not
that.
what I heard.
Has anything exciting happened?
Works.
Oh well,
Knew that would be
all's
a problem.
quiet. I suppose that when the orcs come, you
Might have
can't
gone
fail
about
to
it
notice.
differently.
I can't take care of it.
You mustn't believe everything you hear. I'm not touching
There's
that.
nothing you can do about it.
Don't tell this to anyone.
I already thought as much. We can only wait and
It's a
see.
bad business.
What can I do for you?
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather. Still unused. Interested?
Show me your wares.
Works all day.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Now that's typical.
I knew that would be a problem. I don't believe this is gonna
I
change.
agree with you completely.
Someone's gonna do the
We can only wait and see. That was quite obvious.
I'd have gone about it differently.
things like that.
I'm not touching that. I don't like it.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
Go away. Don't tell me
It was
that.
just like you said. I've heard a thing or two.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's not what my husband thinks.
knew that would be a problem. That was quite obvious.
That was obvious all along.
Really? How
That
interesting.
was quite obvious. I'm not touching that. I already thought as much.
What can I do for you?
Nobody will learn anything from me.
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather, still unused. Interested?
Show me your wares.
No better off myself.
I'm not touching that.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
It can't go on like this forever.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help him.
I've heard a thing or two.
I'm no better off myself.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
I never knew that.
Deserve that. It can't go on like this forever.
I agree with you completely.
Forever. I don't believe this is gonna change.
Will it ever change?
Yes, it is. You mustn't believe everything you hear.
Is it really true?
Much. I'm not touching that.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
What do you know about paladins?
Since these bastards have come to the city, I've had nothing but trouble. The last time I was headed for the upper end of town, the guards flat out stopped me and asked me what was my business there.
And?
Of course they let me in. I had my shop in the city when most of those pompous asses were still chasing pigs with wooden swords. And yesterday, the bastards came and confiscated half of my goods.
That's the first I've heard of it.
I'd have gone about it differently.
The paladins seized your goods.
Everything I had stored in the backyard. They simply posted a guard in front of the entrance to the yard. If I'm lucky, they won't take everything. At least they might leave the armor here.
Is it really true?
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
What? What are you going to do there?
I've got an important message.
Well, well. Have you tried getting past the guards?
Oh man, forget it.
That's typical of those beggars. I don't know how important your message is, and it's none of my business. But even if you told them that a ship full of orcs just anchored in the harbor, they'd send you away. Because they have their orders.
Who says things like that?
So can you help me get into the upper quarter?
It seems to be really important to you. The question is, how important is it to you?
What are you getting at?
I can help you. After all, I'm one of the most influential people here. But it'll cost you.
I never knew that.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Where could I sign on as an apprentice then?
Basically, with any master here on the main street. That would be Harrod the Smith, Bospa the Bowmaker, Thorben the Carpenter, or Constantino the Alchemist. One of them is bound to take you on. But it's important that the other masters agree. That's always been the custom here in Corinus.
What are you asking for your help?
100 gold pieces.
That's a whole damn lot.
Take it easy. It isn't your gold I have in mind.
But
In principle, it's my gold. Gritta, the carpenter's niece, hasn't paid what she owes me in ages. But the little brat is constantly running around in new clothes. That means she has the money. I'd like to beat it out of her. But Master Thorben, the carpenter, is also a very influential man. Get me the money and I'll help you.
help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
One thing at a time. First fulfill your part of the deal and bring me the gold.
Where can I find this Gritta?
Like I said, she's the carpenter's niece. His house is down the street, the last house on the right before the smithy.
I hope he does think that I am going to beat it out of her. I mean, does not think. Bosper and Herad sound interesting. Working as an apprentice bowmaker sounds appealing.
this forever.
Will it ever change?
He didn't get that from me.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I wouldn't be so sure.
That was obvious.
Hey, you! What can you tell me about this area?
You are now in the lower part of town. Where do you want to go?
Thanks, that's all I wanted to know.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I've got my own opinion about that.
I'm no better off myself.
But he knew that all along.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
Welcome to my shop, stranger. I am Basper. I craft bows and trade in furs. What brings you to Corinus?
So why won't they listen to me?
It's not what I heard.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Do you really?
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well. Let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district. But they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard.
Show me your wares.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
It was just like you said.
It's a bad business.
So why won't they listen to me?
But no, he insisted he knew better.
But he knew that all along.
I agree with you completely.
Where did you pick that up then?
I need to get into the upper quarter.
Where the paladins are? Forget it. You need to be a respected citizen here, or at least hold a decent job. As a stranger, you stand no chance of getting in.
So I noticed.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Don't tell me.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. The last one just gave up his job 2 days ago. Do you know anything about hunting then?
Well,
I could teach you how to skin animals. I'll pay you well for every skin you bring me.
Is it really true?
That's the first I've heard of it.
why did your apprentice give up his job?
All he said was that it had become too dangerous out there. If you're really interested, then you can ask him yourself. His name is Bartok. He's probably hanging out near Corrigan's Tavern. Go through the underpass from the smithy, then you're headed straight for it.
I've got my own opinion about that.
What if I want to sign on with one of the other masters?
Balderdash. Herod and Matteo already have apprentices. Constantino the alchemist is a loner, and he hasn't taken an apprentice in years. And as for Thorben, everyone knows he's dead broke. He probably couldn't even pay you. I, on the other hand, am in urgent need of an apprentice, and I pay well, too. But no matter where you want to sign on, you need the approval of all other masters from the lower part of town.
Will I get your approval to sign up with a different master?
All right, you shall have my approval, but on one condition. Work for me, at least for a short time. That way, you can find out for yourself whether you like my craft or not. And who knows, maybe you'll end up liking it, and you'll stay with me. If you're good enough to sign on with me, you're also good enough for all others here.
What do you want me to do for you?
I will teach you how to skin an animal, and you will bring me, let's say, half a dozen wolf skins. Then I'll know that you have learned your trade. If it doesn't take you forever, and if the skins are in acceptable condition, I will take you on if you like. Or, you can start with one of the other masters, if that's what you really want.
About the wolfskins.
We had agreed on half a dozen, but you've still got time. Go and get those skins.
You didn't get that from me.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I knew that would be a problem. You didn't get that from me.
That was obvious all along.
That was quite obvious.
You listened to the wrong people.
So why won't they listen to me?
He never would have thought of that himself.
I want to start as your apprentice.
Where did you pick
Before I take you on, I need to know, of course, whether you're any good at all.
It was just like you said.
That was obvious all along.
I can't believe that.
That's been known a long time.
You didn't get that from me.
That's not what I heard.
Hey,
Ah, fresh face. You're not from Corinus, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here? That was quite obvious.
what do you know about the paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper end of town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
Do you know anything about the peasants' rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do. I knew that would be a problem.
That's all just gossip.
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Greta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see. Nobody will learn anything from me.
He had better shut up.
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice. I'm not touching that.
He simply talks too much.
So, you know a lot about locks.
What good is a fine chest without a fine lock? I make my own locks. That way, I can at least be sure I haven't built my chest that sturdy for nothing. A poorly made lock is easy to break. And there are plenty of thieves about in Corinnis, especially lately.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
But he knew that all along.
Can you teach me how to pick locks?
That's what I've
I don't know whether you can be trusted or not. For all I know, you might be one of those layabouts who only come to town to empty the chests of honest people. I'm not going to teach you anything before I'm convinced that you're an honest fellow.
what my husband thinks.
I can't believe that.
He simply talks too much.
Have you had an apprentice before?
Yes, and not too long ago.
And what happened?
Bad time.
His name is Elvrich. He's my nephew. I was quite pleased with him, actually, but one day he simply didn't show up for work.
That's not what my husband thinks.
It was just like you said.
Where is Elvrich now?
How would I know? He kept hanging around that filthy brothel by the harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still warming the bed of some whore down there.
You didn't get that from me.
How long has it been since you saw him?
I guess it must be about 2 weeks.
Have you reported that to the militia?
Of course I have. They were supposed to catch him and see to it that the lazy bones does his work, but I already regret that. He can do whatever he wants. Sooner or later he'll realize he'll get nowhere in Corinnis without a decent job.
Is that so?
You don't say.
I'm not touching that.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith? Really didn't deserve that.
But that's terrible.
I've heard a thing or two.
Well, if you mean, do I say my prayers regularly?
I see. A man who does not ply his trade with the blessing of the gods will never receive my approval. Ask for the gods' forgiveness for your transgressions. Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing, too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
You don't say.
I've got my own opinion about that.
I won't tell her a thing.
Hey! Do you sell weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Let's talk again about that orc thing.
What?
Your orc is as good as dead.
Good. Then stop wasting your breath and let your deeds speak for themselves.
Some of these guys are as annoying as the guys from the prison colony.
Did so. But Adanos feared for the day in which the beast would return to the land. And so he bade Enos to leave a part of his power in his realm so that he might restore it to the human if the beast should return.
Hey!
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Gritta. Ever since my husband died, I have been running the household for my uncle Thorabin.
How's it going?
Same as always, but I don't want to complain.
Mateo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you. Back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking, a gentleman of the old school. We had it all. Wealth, happiness. Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized conversations. Everything was better back then. No one would have dared to humiliate the heart of a poor widow with such ridiculous claims. Whatever shall I do? My pension is barely enough to make ends meet, and times are getting even rougher. One sees it everywhere. People must scrimp and save. It's been weeks since the last ship came to town. My husband was the captain of a merchant ship. Actually, he even owned the ship. From his long journeys, he always brought me presents. Exquisite fabrics from the mainland, precious spices from the southern countries. Most people haven't even heard of these things. But then, one day, I got the tidings that the Gritta had sunk. That was the name of the ship. My husband called it that out of love for me. I wept and prayed that my husband had survived the disaster. Every day I hoped to hear from him, but all my longing was in vain. May Innos have mercy on his soul. May he rest in peace. Since that time, I have been living under these modest circumstances, and now this soulless, callous Matteo is after the last bit of my life savings. Please have mercy on a poor woman. Back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking, a gentleman of the old school. We had it all. Wealth, happiness. Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized conversations. Everything was better back then. No one would have dared to humiliate the heart of a poor widow with such ridiculous claims. Whatever shall I do? My pension is barely enough to make ends meet, and times are getting even rougher. People must scrimp and save. From his long...
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
This quest is stupid. She says that the goods were faulty and does not owe any money. The hero has to presume Matteo is telling the truth.
I am sorry, but Matteo says that you owe him money. Even your uncle says that he paid your debts. He even had to borrow money to pay.
Then we'll simply sell a few of your togs. I'm sure you've still got a bunch of stuff in your closet.
How dare you, uncouth lout! All right, here, take the gold.
See, that wasn't so hard.
And now will you please leave my house?
That isn't true.
Someone's got to do the work. Nobody will learn anything from me.
You just have to listen.
Your niece had 100 gold pieces.
What? The brazen little serpent. That was my gold. She took it from my chest. Give it back to me. I have to pay off Lamar first. Matteo can get his money later.
There's more, believe me.
I never knew that.
It was just like you said.
I couldn't care less.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
Here's your gold.
Thanks. Now I have at least part of the money I owe Lamar. I can't believe she had the audacity to take my gold.
That's been known along.
Enough trouble as it is.
I've got no time for things like that.
That's not what I heard. Will it ever change?
I'm not touching that.
How about your approval, Master?
Has Vatras given you his blessing?
Not yet.
Then I don't know why you're asking me again. You know my terms.
Things I could tell you.
That's not what I heard. You listened to the wrong people.
Can't believe that.
You just have to listen.
He can't keep anything to himself.
What else do you want? You've got my gold. Go away.
Same old thing all over again.
This is so stupid. It wasn't her gold. She stole the gold from her uncle.
I used to say that myself.
He simply talks too much.
Will it ever change?
Wouldn't be so sure.
I'm staying out of it.
He'd better shut up.
Nobody will learn anything from
Just
me.
like you said.
No idea. You tell me.
That's not what my husband thinks.
He would have never thought of that
You mustn't
himself.
believe everything you hear.
Is it really true?
What are my options here in town?
If you don't want to end up in the gutter in the harbor district, find a regular job. Ask around in the lower part of town. Maybe you'll get lucky. If you're planning on staying longer here in the city, you should join the militia, or at least get trained in combat. The combat instructors in the barracks also train civilians. The orcs will come soon, and then you'll be glad of every hour you spent on the drill ground.
What do you know about the paladins?
Not much. Nobody knows exactly why they're here. Not even those of us in the city guard. They've taken control of the city, chased the governor out of his council chamber, and relieved the judge of his office. If you ask me, it's a good thing. Those pompous asses bitterly need a lesson in humility.
What can you tell me about this area?
You're now in the lower part of town. Where do you want to go?
Where's the harbor district?
Walking down the harbor road from the smithy will take you to the harbor.
Thanks, that's all I wanted to know. What's new?
They say the farmers have rebelled. We can't use crap like that now, when we're in the middle of a war with the orcs.
Damn it. What do you want?
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
Counting isn't your strong suit, is it? You don't have 100 gold pieces.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Been there, done that.
But that's terrible.
I never knew that.
I wouldn't be so sure.
I'm staying out of it.
He'd better shut up.
That's been known a long time.
That's the first I've heard of it.
It had to happen sooner or later.
Hey, you, wait. You look familiar to me.
What do you want?
I've seen your face before somewhere, right?
That was no big deal.
Here, we found this picture on some bandits we picked up a few days ago. It looks a lot like you. Apparently, those guys were looking for you.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
That's the first I've heard of it.
That's the truth.
No, you've got to be mistaken. Everything's fine with me.
Whatever you say, stranger. But if that happens to be your mug after all, and if you have some problems, keep them outside of this town. Things are difficult enough here as it is. And strangers who bring trouble into the city don't stay here long. I hope I make myself clear.
Anything from me.
That was quite obvious.
No one really wanted to hear that.
He'd better
Wait a
shut
minute.
You can't do anything about it.
But he knew that all.
What do you know about the bandits?
Tell you.
They've all come from that blasted mining colony.
No better off.
But there are several splinter groups. Some are holed up in the mountains, and others have joined up with Ona, the landowner. But it's the bandits outside of town who cause the most problems. They're the reason that none of the merchants venture beyond the city gates now.
You don't say.
But no, he insisted he knew better.
Where did the bandits who had my wanted poster come from?
Aha! So it is your mug after all. Why didn't you admit that right away, huh? What do you want it for?
I don't know, honest.
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you something. If I thought you were in cahoots with those bandits, you'd already be cooling your heels in the slammer. Understood? Still, I'd better report this incident to Lord Andre. But to answer your question, we picked them up near the landowner's place, but they didn't look like Onar's people. I think they're part of a smaller group which is holed up in the mountains near Onar's farm. But if you intend to go there, let me warn you, those cutthroats make short work of everyone.
I'll remember that.
I don't believe that.
Is it really true?
You mustn't believe everything.
That's the truth.
You don't say.
But no, he insisted he knew better.
I've heard a thing or two.
I used to say that myself.
Everybody knows by
That's all just gossip.
I wouldn't be so sure.
No idea. You tell me.
Honestly,
I never knew that.
myself.
He really didn't deserve
Been there,
that.
done that.
Really, how interesting.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
But he knew that all
Tell
along.
me that isn't true.
Don't tell this to
Is it really true?
That was quite obvious.
I used to say that myself.
And it's going to get even worse.
Don't say you didn't know that.
If I hadn't seen it with my own
I am
eyes-
already starting to hate this game.
I've got my own opinion.
Nobody
about
wants
that.
to know.
Honestly, I
Can't
witnessed
do
it
anything
myself.
about it.
I knew that would be a problem.
Same old thing all over again.
Hey,
That's not what my husband thinks.
has anything exciting happened?
Thought as much.
Oh well, all's quiet. I suppose that when the orcs come, we can't fail to notice.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Now that's
New in the
typical,
city,
isn't it?
huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harriet's
I knew
apprentice.
That would be a problem.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I've learned a lot from him.
And it's going to get even worse.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
I'm in enough trouble.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorben the carpenter, Bosper the bowmaker, Constantino the alchemist, and Matteo. He sells armor, but first of all, he's a merchant. All the masters have their houses here on the street, and Constantino's shop is in the underpass to the temple.
That's not what my husband thinks.
I can't believe that.
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Can I buy weapons from you?
Not really. I'm merely an assistant. The weapons that are made in this smithy are collected by the militia and taken to the towers where they're stored. But if it has anything to do with forging, maybe I can help you.
But he knew that.
What can I get from you?
I can sell you some steel billets.
Don't tell this to anyone.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
You don't have to tell me that.
I don't believe that.
You hardly know who to believe these days.
I couldn't care less.
And it's going to get even worse.
Do you really believe that?
I can't believe that.
No idea. You tell me.
He simply talks too much.
So why won't they listen to me?
Hey!
That's an open secret.
That's the first I've heard.
Well, what have we here?
Have you no manners? That's disgusting. Oh, is this filthy rabble. Haven't you a job where you ought to be? But I suppose no one would miss a down-at-heel fellow like you, hey? Well, if you had as much gold as I do, you wouldn't have to work either. But you'll never be that rich.
I see I'm gonna have lots of fun with you.
Someone's got to do the work.
I asked you who you are.
I am Valentino, the handsome, bon vivant and ladies' man. Poor in cares, rich in wisdom and gold, and the women throw themselves at me. If you have problems, keep them. I don't need them.
Who says things like that?
Do you have anything else to tell me?
Make yourself popular, never promise anything to anyone, take what you can, and watch out that you don't get into a quarrel with the militia. Or with jealous husbands, of course. They're the worst, let me tell you.
That's not what I heard.
It can't go on like this forever.
That's not what my husband thinks.
I get so worked up.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Nobody ever asked for me.
Hey, you!
Everybody knows by now.
How's it going?
You're not from around here, are you? Never mind. Neither am I.
Where did you hang around before?
In the woods, hunting scavengers and wolves together with some hunters. But I gave it up. These are dangerous times. There's a lot of riffraff running around out there.
Bosper said you used to work for him.
Yes, I did, but he was only interested in his blasted hides. I told him how dangerous it's gotten out there. He didn't really listen to me. Well, anyway, he paid well. I can't complain about that.
Can you tell me anything else about him?
Bosper had one of his bows stolen recently, in broad daylight. Some guy just waltzed into his store, took a bow, and left. The thieves are getting more and more brazen.
Can you teach me something about hunting?
I can teach you how to sneak properly and how to handle a bow. If you want to learn how to skin an animal, go to Bosper. He's the one who taught me.
That's what I've always said.
I want to be able to handle a bow better.
Okay then, let's see if I can teach you anything.
You don't say.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Someone's got to do the work.
Where can I find the other hunters?
We had our camp outside near the tavern halfway to Onar's farm, but I don't know whether there is anyone left in the camp now. There used to be 2 of us here in town until a few days ago. My friend Trokar is an excellent hunter.
I won't tell her a thing from now.
So, where is your friend Trokar now?
Well, it's a curious story. Only a few days ago, we were both standing at the bar in Corrigan's tavern, discussing the hunt. Don't ask me what happened next. I had had a few by then. I vaguely remember Trokar saying that he was going out to get a few swamp weed reefers. He never came back.
Don't say you didn't know that. I know better off myself.
Didn't you go looking for him?
No, but I reported it to the militia. But they haven't been able to find him yet. I hope he didn't get attacked by a wolf, or worse. I'm afraid that I'll stumble over his body someday when I'm out hunting. I don't think I could bear that.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Where does one get swamp weed reefers?
Somewhere down at the harbor as far as I know.
And he works all day too. Someone's got to do the work. He can't keep anything to himself.
What's new?
I hope the militia will finally find out why the population of Corinus keeps shrinking. You have to fear for your life when you hear that so many have already gone missing.
I don't believe this is going to change.
What interesting things are there to see here?
There are all kinds of goods on display in the marketplace.
That's an open secret.
You didn't get that from me.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Don't say you didn't know that.
And it's going to get even worse.
You didn't get that from me.
These are bad times.
It can't go on like this forever.
He'd better shut up.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Corinus.
Really didn't deserve
By the
that.
explicit order
That's
of the
not what I
Honorable
heard.
Lord Hagen, the following decree is hereby enacted.
Really? How
The
interesting.
security measures for the protection of the upper quarter
I'm
will
not
be
telling you
further
anything
strengthened.
new.
The guards on the gates are ordered to
Honestly, I
interpret the
wouldn't
law
myself.
in the strictest sense in order to prevent
I'd have gone
unauthorized
about it
entry.
differently.
That's not what my husband thinks.
And he works all day, too.
It's a bad business.
What are you doing here?
I wouldn't know how that
Honestly,
is
I wouldn't
any
ask
of your
myself.
business. Get lost!
It's a bad business.
That's not what my husband thinks.
But that's terrible.
You listen
Hey,
to the
come
wrong
closer.
people.
Take a break and have a sip of cool beer.
I hadn't
Lord
seen
Andre
it
is
in a
springing for a few barrels of free beer.
I'm not telling you anything new.
And he works all day too.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I never knew that.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
I'm no better off myself.
Hear ye, inhabitants of
Don't tell
Corinus.
this to anyone.
By the explicit order of the Honorable Lord Hagen, the following
what I heard.
decree is hereby enacted. Martial law is immediately declared. Don't bother me, I'm on duty.
I'm not telling you anything new.
He had better shut up.
Do you really believe that?
But that's terrible.
It's not what I heard.
These are bad times.
Innos be with you, stranger. What brings you to me?
I've come to collect the bounty for a criminal. Wait a minute. How's your duty?
Oh, these boys swing their swords like farmers. But when I'm done with them, every single one of them will be a tough, hard bastard.
Hey! What are you doing here?
I'm training the boys to use a crossbow and help them become a little more dexterous.
Could you train me?
No, I only train the men in the service of the king, nobody else. But we can always use good people, so if you want to join the militia, go talk to Lord Andre.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
Is it really true?
I don't believe that.
That was obvious all along.
Someone's got to do the work.
I'm not telling you anything new.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
That's been
Hey,
going a
you!
long time.
What are you doing here?
I'm a novice from the monastery. I run errands for the magicians and also the paladins. I have provided the 3 innkeepers in the city with wine from the
I
monastery.
never knew that.
Who are the 3 innkeepers?
One of them is the good man here behind the bar.
It's a bad
Then there is Kerrigan, who has his tavern on the Temple Square,
Bad times.
and Cardiff, the owner of the tavern in the Harbor District.
I'm no better off myself.
He had better shut up.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Corinus.
better off myself.
By the explicit order of the Honorable Lord Hagen, the following decree is hereby enacted. By reason of the imminent danger of an attack by orcs, each inhabitant of the city is to prepare himself accordingly.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
That's not what I heard.
It can't go on like this forever.
That's It's an open secret.
I can't believe that.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
He'd better shut up.
And he works all day, too.
I already thought as much.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help him.
Who says things like that?
I don't believe that.
I don't know why he gets so worked up.
I'm not telling you anything new.
Who says things like that? And he works all day, too.
Halt! No one may enter the storeroom!
So sure.
Nobody ever asked. What did you want in there?
My own opinion about that.
That'll only cause more trouble.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
Who said that?
This to anyone.
You should really have known better.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
You should really have known better.
He'd better shut up.
That's no secret.
He simply talks too much.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Who says things like that?
I couldn't care what to believe anymore. Some problems solve themselves.
I've heard a thing or two.
Why haven't I heard
Hey, you! Where you going? No matter what your plans are, there'll be plenty of time later. You're right in front of the Pearl of Corinus, the Red Lantern. This is the most beautiful brothel in all of Myrtana, damn it. Sailors from the most remote corners of the world dock here just to spend a few nights in the Red Lantern. And now, it's you who has the chance, nay, the honor of spending a night with Nadia, the most passionate flower of the gods. Come on in, and you're going to experience what others cannot even dream of.
Why won't they listen to me?
Nothing's ever going to change that.
What are you standing around for out here? Go on in and meet our passionate Nadia. This hot creature of the night will give your life a new meaning.
He should have known better.
I'm not touching that.
But that's terrible.
Are you the one who runs this place?
I am Bromo, this is my house, and these are my girls. I like my girls. And if you like my girls too, then you'll pay for it, 50 gold pieces. And don't get the idea of making trouble here.
We can only wait and see.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
And there's more, believe me.
Are all your girls accounted for?
Of course they are. Or do you think I want to go to jail over something like that?
I wasn't asking about your payroll. I mean, are they all present? Or have any gone missing?
Oh yeah. Actually, one of my girls has up and left. Her name's Lucia. I reported it to the militia too, but they claim they haven't found a trace of her yet.
How long has Lucia been missing?
Several days. I don't know exactly how long. I assume she ran off with one of her suitors, eh? That bitch made off with part of my savings, a really valuable golden dish, huh? If I get hold of her, I'll give her what for. So how is that any business of yours, huh? Do you want to have fun or not?
He simply talks too much.
Things I can tell you.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Been there.
Hey.
Hey, I can't take care of you now, baby. Talk to Bromar if you want to have some fun.
I just want to ask you a few questions about those missing people.
I could tell you a thing or two, but not here, honey.
Then let's go upstairs.
Fine, but you get it settled with Bromar first. I don't want any trouble.
I don't believe that.
That was quite obvious.
Who says things like that?
Talk to Bromar if you want to have some fun.
That's not what I heard.
Ahoy, you landlubber. Looks like you're stranded here. You look a bit pale around the gills. Never mind, my lad. All you need is a good stiff sea breeze.
You don't have to tell me that.
What are you doing here?
Back when I was a young man, I went to sea and rode through many a big storm.
He wants to know.
Everybody knows by now.
No big deal, not at all. But that old tower came closest to what I call a home. I haven't been up there in ages.
Why not?
Ever since these scallywags took over my lighthouse, I haven't dared get closer to it than 20 feet. Really bad rabble, that. They're criminals from the Valley of Mind, you know. There was this big bang on the other side of the mountains, and they swarmed all over the land like flies. Now they're hiding out everywhere, even in my lighthouse. I think they're on the lookout for any ship they can raid. Ah, let them. Then at least they'd be out of my tower.
He'd better shut up.
That will never change.
Don't tell this to anyone.
The things I could tell you.
Do you come to town often?
I always say a town is only as good as its harbor. A harbor is the gate to the world. That's where everyone meets and where everything starts. Once the harbor goes to the dogs, the rest of the city will follow soon.
And it's going to get even worse.
You should really have known better.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Tell me about the harbor.
The harbor of Corinthus isn't what it used to be. There's nothing but riffraff hanging about. The ships don't come anymore, and trade is dead.
No idea.
This harbor's about to go under.
That's not what I heard.
You can't rely on that.
So why don't you leave?
Nobody would take an old sea dog like me on his ship these days. Most people think that old Jack's got the gout in his rotten old bones.
And? Are they right?
Balderdash. Once I've got those planks beneath me feet again, I'll feel like a young whippersnapper.
Gotta do the work.
What do you mean by riffraff?
Look at them, the lazy rabble. Most of them don't even know what work is. All they do is drink all day and spend their last pay at the brothel. I tell you, stay away from them.
Why are the ships no longer coming?
They all say that once the war is over, everything will be like it used to be. That's a load of bilge water. I tell you, a sailor can see when a town's going downhill. A sailor feels that in his blood, and I can tell you, forget about this harbor. Its heyday's over.
From now on.
Who said that? You should really have known better.
Don't tell this to anyone.
You don't have to tell me.
What I heard.
But he knew that all along.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
What are you standing around for out here? Go on in and meet our passionate Nadia.
That's not what I heard.
This hot creature of the night will give your life a new meaning.
Where did you pick that up then?
Who says things like that?
That's totally obvious.
I can only talk to you if you speak to Bromar first.
He should have known. And there's more, believe me.
He didn't get that from me.
He'd better shut up.
I don't want to hear that. That will never change.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
As if I didn't have enough problems.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Where did you pick that up then?
And he works all day, too.
Nobody ever asks me.
That's not what my husband thinks.
Where did you pick that up then?
As if I didn't have enough problems.
He had better shut up.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
And he works all day, too.
You don't have to ask me that.
Go away. Don't tell me that.
I've heard a thing or two.
And he works all day, too.
That's nothing new.
He had better shut up.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
And it's going to get even worse.
You have to feel sorry for the poor.
Everybody knows by now.
Don't say you didn't.
I can only speak to her if I pay 50 gold. I am not paying 50
He
gold.
can't keep anything to himself.
I've got my own opinion about that.
That's not what I heard.
He should have known better.
Where did you pick that up then?
These are bad times.
I wouldn't have
Go
known.
away. Don't tell me that.
Who says things like that?
You don't have to ask me.
That's what I've always said.
Everybody knows by now.
That's exactly what I said.
Really didn't deserve that.
Everybody knows by now.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
He had better shut up.
Never knew that.
Where did you pick that up then?
Everybody knows by now.
Better to watch out.
That's an
They
open
say the bow
secret.
went missing around the harbor. Let me look
Can't
around.
say.
That's an open secret.
He can't keep anything to himself.
I must be crazy. What are you doing here?
He had better shut up.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Someone's got to do the work.
Why haven't I heard about this?
Hey, Larish, you old scoundrel, how did you get here?
I was able to escape to the Valley of Mines just in time, together with Lee and some of the other boys. You remember Lee, don't you?
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I don't
Of course I remember Lee. I got out of the colony with him then, just after the barrier was destroyed. He and his boys are now on the farm of Onar, the landowner. He made a deal with the farmer. He and his boys defend the farm, and Onar feeds them in return.
You don't say.
It's exactly what I said.
He had better shut up.
Tell me more about Lee and his mercenaries.
What do you want to know?
You already know what I think.
That's what I've always said.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's not what my husband.
How do I find the landowner's farm?
It's quite simple. You leave the seaport by the east gate, and then follow the path towards the east. I can take you there if you want.
Who says things like that?
There's nothing you can do about it.
Honestly.
Why aren't you with Lee and his mercenaries?
But I am, just not on the farm.
Nothing surprises me.
You could say I'm our outpost in the city. We don't want the ship to sail without us.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
You listen to the wrong people.
What ship were you talking about?
It's on the open sea harbor, behind the cliffs. Lee and a few of his people really want to get away from here. But that could take a while.
Why?
You'd better ask Lee about that. If you meet him, he's got plans.
was obvious all along.
That's an open sea.
Tell me more about the mercenaries.
Well, if you're as tough as you were back then, you shouldn't have any problems with them. Most of them are ruffians, and if you can't stand up to them, you won't get far. If you're squeamish, you don't have a chance of joining them.
But that's terrible.
Do you really think?
He had better shut up.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
I must talk to the paladins by any means.
What do you want from them?
They've got a powerful amulet, the Eye of Innos. I must have it.
And you think they'll give it to you? You'll never get into the upper end of town.
I'll find a way somehow.
Sure. If you want to ingratiate yourself with the citizens or play errand boy for the militia.
Who says things like that?
That'll only cause more trouble.
Do you know why the paladins are here?
Nobody knows for sure. Lots of people think it's because of the orcs, but I think there's another reason. It probably has something to do with the old penal colony.
Go away, don't tell me that.
You have to feel sorry.
Can you teach me something?
Sure. I can help you become stronger and more dexterous if you like.
Everybody knows by now.
There have been all kinds of rumors.
You don't say.
I'm no better off myself.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
That's what
Hey, I don't know you.
Been known a long time.
What do you want here? Are you
Can't
headed
take
for
care
the
of everything
tavern?
for everybody.
That's been known a long time.
Ah, so this is the harbor watering hole. And there I was, taking it for the governor's palace.
How interesting.
Hey, cut out the
Nobody will learn
bad jokes,
anything from
Runt.
me.
Otherwise, you'll be
Says
chewing
things
the
like that.
cobblestone.
But that's terrible.
I'm no better off myself.
That's an open secret.
Let's wait and see what happens.
He had better shut up.
Are you trying to make trouble for me?
Sure, I'm
Someone's
a
gotta do
master
the
at
work.
making trouble. So defend yourself, Runt.
That's terrible.
You hardly know who to believe these days. Ah, a fight. Ah, a fight. Not bad.
Gold. Okay, that's mine for starters. You don't have to ask me that.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
He never would have thought of that himself.
That's not what my husband thinks. I won't tell her a thing from now on.
You hardly know who
Hey.
to believe
Thing
these
to
days.
himself.
That's an
All
open secret.
kinds of rumors.
I'd have gone about it differently.
Hey, I don't know you. What do you
That's what
want
my
here?
husband thinks.
Are you headed?
Someone's
gone
got
about
to do
it
the work.
Ah, so this...
That's
Hey,
what I've always said.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Are you trying to make trouble for me?
sure, I'm a master at making
all just
trouble.
gossip.
Too much.
So defend yourself, Runt.
I can take care of everything for everybody.
Ah, a fight. And now for the fun part.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
I'm no better off myself.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
It's really not my
I
problem.
witnessed it myself.
Someone's
Hey, I don't know you.
There's
You
nothing
don't
you
say.
can do.
Huh?
Hey,
That's what I've always said.
sure.
Will it ever change? Ah, a fight.
Anything's possible.
never knew that. Too much.
Hey, I don't know you.
That's not what I heard.
Hey.
That's what I've always said.
I can't help it.
Are you sure? I'm
He
a
says
master
things
at making trouble. So defend yourself, runt.
That's not what my
Not bad. Now that's typical, isn't it? I won't tell her a thing from now on.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Hey, I don't know.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
That's not what my husband thinks.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Everybody knows by now.
He simply talks too much.
Are you trying to make...
Sure, I'm a master at making
That's not what my husband thinks.
But that's terrible.
These are bad times.
Stop right there, you lowlife! I wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Nobody ever asked.
Shut up.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
You have to feel sorry for the poor guy.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help him.
It can't go on like this forever.
It's really not my problem.
Too.
I won't tell her a thing for now.
He simply talks too much.
Really? How interesting.
Don't
tell
tell
me you
this
didn't
to
know
anyone.
He had better shut up.
So I've got you after all.
I never knew that.
Put away
Stop
that
right
weapon.
there, you lowlife!
Put away that weapon.
Are you
Put down
dead
that
or
weapon.
what? I said put down that weapon.
Can't you hear me? I said put down that weapon.
You don't say.
That's not what I heard.
That's not what my husband thinks.
So I've got you after all.
Put away that weapon.
Put away that weapon. Put away that weapon.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
Everybody knows by now.
That's what I've always said.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
So I've got you after all.
Ah! Not bad.
Another game I wasted my money on. So it is okay for him to take out a weapon, but my character cannot. It is so stupid.
I don't believe that.
But that's terrible.
He never would have thought of that himself.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
I don't
really
believe
believe
that.
Now
Let's wait and
that's
see what
typical, isn't it?
So I've got you after all.
He can't keep anything to himself.
If I hadn't said
I'm no
can't
better
keep
off myself.
anything to himself.
Really? That's not what my husband thinks.
Someone's got to do the work.
He had better shut up.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
So why won't they listen to me?
That's nothing new.
Go away, don't tell me that.
He simply talks too much.
Who says things like that?
These are bad times.
Put away that weapon.
Put away that weapon.
Smart kid.
I never knew that.
So I've got you after all.
You should have known
that. Stop right there, you lowlife!
That was quite obvious.
Who said that?
Who says things like
I've got my own opinion about that. So why won't they listen to me?
Who says things like that?
That's all just gossip.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. He'd better shut up.
So I've got you after all.
He simply talks too much.
That's not what my husband thinks.
We can only wait and see.
That's what I've always said.
But he knew that all along.
And now for some action.
Really, how interesting.
That's not what I heard.
Everybody knows by now.
So I've got you after all.
And it's going to get even worse.
Do you really think?
Terrible. Now that's typical, isn't it?
Why haven't I heard about this before?
That's what I've always said.
That's not what my husband thinks.
He simply talks too much.
But that's terrible.
And he works all day too.
Let's
Can't
wait
keep
and see what
anything to
happens.
himself.
And he works all day too. I won't tell her a thing from now on.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I can't take care of everything.
So I've got you after all.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Really, how interesting.
You don't say.
Let's wait and see what happens.
That's what I've always said.
And now for some action.
So I've got you after all.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
These are bad times.
These are
Only
bad
wait and
times.
see.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
Those are all just rumors.
Go away, don't tell me
Get so
that.
worked up.
You should have known better.
It can't go on like this forever.
Let's wait and see what happens.
Don't say you didn't know that.
He simply talks too much.
And now for some action.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Just you wait, you son of a bitch.
What I said.
Ah, a fight!
So I've got you after all.
Let's wait and see what happens.
Who says things like that?
You have to feel sorry.
Who says things like that?
You have to feel sorry for the poor guy.
He simply talks too much.
I could have told you that.
Anything to himself. Someone's
That would
gotta
be
do
a
the
problem.
You don't have to ask me.
He simply talks too much.
Someone's got to do the work.
It was just like you said.
Nobody ever asks me.
myself.
You didn't get that from me.
Who says things like that?
You
That's
didn't
what
get
I
that from
always
me.
said.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
That's terrible.
Some problems solve themselves.
Really,
It can't
how
go on
interesting.
like this forever.
That's terrible.
I've got my own opinion about that.
Those are all just rumors.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
You have to feel sorry for the poor guy.
It can't go on like this forever.
That's nothing new.
It can't go on like this forever.
That's totally obvious.
You didn't get that from me.
For everybody.
He should have known better.
So why won't they listen to me?
Nothing's ever going to change that.
Honestly, I noticed it myself.
That's not what I heard.
I already thought as much.
That's exactly what I said.
Where did you pick that up then?
Husband thinks.
You already know what I think.
I've heard a thing or two.
For everybody.
There's been all kinds of rumors.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Noticed it myself.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
I've heard a thing or two.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
It was Just like you said.
That'll only cause more trouble.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
As if I didn't have enough problems.
I'm not touching that.
Do you really think?
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Those are all just rumors.
But he knew that all along. And now for the... Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Oh! You already know what I mean.
And now for the fun part. Don't stop now!
And it's gonna get even worse.
Oh!
I already thought as much.
And now for...
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Everybody knows by now.
Don't stop now!
Not bad at all.
I've heard a thing or two.
My own eyes.
You have to feel sorry for the poor guy.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Some problems solve themselves.
And now for the... That hit the spot!
Everybody knows by now.
Everybody knows by now.
You didn't get that from me.
I won't tell her a thing.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
Those are all just rumors.
Nobody
really
ever
deserves
asks for
that.
my opinion.
Do you really think?
I'm in enough trouble as it is. You didn't get that from me.
You better watch out what you do.
It was just like you said.
It's exactly what I said.
And now that hit the spot! And now for the...
Not bad at all.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Stop right there, you lowlife! I wouldn't have done that. That's exactly what I said.
You really didn't deserve that.
Do you really think?
I don't know why you get so worked up.
You don't have to ask me that.
get that from me.
That'll only cause more trouble.
That's the first I've heard of it.
As if I didn't have enough problems.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Those are all just rumors.
It was just like you said.
It can't go on like this forever.
That was quite obvious.
Everything you hear.
Who said that?
Don't say you didn't know that.
That's nothing new.
That was quite obvious.
I don't want to hear that.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
Don't say you didn't know.
So why won't they listen to me?
That'll only cause more trouble.
His deeds were just.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
You don't have to tell me that. That's totally obvious. I've got no time for things like that.
That was quite obvious.
Not my problem.
That's exactly what I said. Tell me that isn't true.
Where did you pick that up?
But he knew
If
that
he
all
doesn't see
along.
that, I can't help him.
You can't rely on it. You already know what I think.
You mustn't believe everything.
We can only wait and see.
That will never change. Nothing's ever going to change that. Sooner or later.
I have my own opinion about that.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
You should really have known better. You don't have to ask me that. Done that.
It can't go on like this forever.
I've got my own opinion about that.
You don't have to tell me that. There've been all kinds of rumors.
It was just like you said.
That's all just gossip.
Anything's possible. That was no big deal.
I hardly know what to believe.
Don't say you didn't know that.
Business.
That's no secret. It's better to watch out who you tell what.
I can't believe it.
He really
That's
didn't
been
deserve
known a
that.
long time.
Do you really think? No idea. You tell me.
He really didn't deserve that.
Himself.
It can't go on like this forever. Fair punishment.
I can't
He
believe that.
enlightens all those who recognize his wisdom.
He should have known. Same old thing all over again.
But he knew that all along.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
It's better to watch out.
Ah! And now for the fun part.
tell
Will it
this
ever
to
change?
Really?
Been there.
That's an open.
I've got no time for things like that. I don't believe this is going to change.
Will it ever change?
Been there, done that.
Is it really true?
That's
That was no big deal.
Who says things
Enos
like that?
enlightens all those who recognize his wisdom.
I couldn't care less.
Is it really true?
Slug him!
As easy as that.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
We can only wait and see.
And now for something not bad at all.
It can't go on like this forever. Really didn't deserve that.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself. That's another
Cause more trouble.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Even worse. You had better shot. And it's going to get even worse. These are bad times. Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Put down that weapon.
I wouldn't have done
Are you deaf or what? I said, put down that weapon.
Everybody knows by now.
You asked for it.
That's an open secret.
Everybody knows by now.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
that. You have to feel sorry for a poor guy.
I've got my own opinion about that.
Put down that weapon.
As if I didn't have enough weapons. That all alone. He should have known better. Enough trouble as it is.
Isn't it?
Let's wait and see what happens.
You don't say.
These are bad times.
I'm not touching that.
That's not what my husband thinks.
Really, how interesting.
Honestly,
Nothing's ever going to change that.
that's what I've always said.
I don't believe that.
And it's gonna get even worse.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
Why won't they listen to me?
You didn't say.
Really didn't deserve that.
That's what I've always said.
Forever.
Where did you pick that up then?
You already know what I think.
I can only wait and see.
That would cause more trouble.
Now
I
that's
might get so worked up.
That's what I've always said.
That's terrible.
Go away. Don't tell me that.
We can only wait and see.
Those are all just rumors.
And now for the fun part.
And now for some action.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
Enough trouble as it is.
It can't go on.
I can't believe that. Where did you pick that up then?
He can't keep anything to himself.
You didn't get that from me.
Some problems solve themselves.
I won't tell her a thing from now on.
I
Don't tell
can't
this
believe
to
that.
anyone.
I could have told you.
Don't tell her that.
These are bad times.
Nobody ever asks me.
I thought as much.
Nobody
Ah!
That's an open secret.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
Don't
says
say you
things
didn't
like
know
that?
that.
You should have known.
Shut up.
Really,
Got
how
my own
interesting.
opinion about that. change.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Go away, don't tell me that.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Anything's possible.
He simply talks too much.
Those are all just rumors.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
I don't want to hear that anymore.
Honestly, I wouldn't get myself.
Someone's got to do the work.
I could have told you that. It was his decision, wasn't it?
It can't go on like this forever.
Do you really think?
Maybe that would be a problem.
It's totally obvious.
That's an open secret.
Some problems solve themselves.
That's an open secret.
That'll only cause more trouble.
I don't believe that.
Do you really think?
That's
I've
an
heard a
open
thing or two.
secret.
He should have
I haven't seen
known
it
that.
with my own eyes.
I've heard a
That's not
thing
what
or
I
two.
heard.
You
That's
have
what
to
I've
feel
always
sorry
said.
for the poor guy.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Do you really think?
Too.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
As if I didn't have enough problems.
That's
Really,
the
how
first I've heard
interesting.
of it.
He should
Everybody
have known
knows by
that.
now.
That's
I'm
what
not
I've always
touching
said.
that.
I don't believe that.
Everybody
be so
knows by
sure.
now.
Who
Nothing's
says
ever going to
things like
change
that?
that.
I don't believe that.
It's
Can't keep
totally
anything to
obvious.
himself.
You
That's
really
not what
didn't
I
deserve
heard.
that.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
Now
only
that's
wait and
typical,
see.
isn't it?
You don't have to ask me that.
I don't
Nobody
believe
ever
that.
asked for my opinion.
He should have known
Better
that.
shut up.
That's the
That's
first
not
I've
what I
heard of it.
heard.
Why
Who
haven't I
says
heard
things
about
like
this
that?
before?
I can't
Nobody
take
ever
care of
asked for
everything for
my
everybody.
opinion.
Do you really
Someone's
think?
gotta do the work.
Don't tell this to anyone.
He should
Not
have
what
known.
I heard.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help it.
That'll only cause more trouble.
I don't believe that.
Enlightens all those who recognize his wisdom.
I have to feel sorry for the poor guy.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Recognize his wisdom.
That's nothing new.
Really, how
You wait and
interesting.
see.
It can't go on like this forever.
He can't
that would
keep
be a
anything
problem.
to himself.
He had better shut up.
I don't believe
As
that.
much.
Nobody ever asks me.
That's
You
what
mustn't
I've
believe
always
everything
said.
you hear.
Those who recognize his wisdom.
That's not what my husband thinks.
He
You
can't
mustn't
keep
believe
anything
everything
to
you hear.
himself.
It can't
Someone's
go on
gotta
like
do
this
the work.
forever.
We can only wait and see.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
That's not what my husband thinks.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
He'd better shut up.
You didn't say.
Someone's got to pay for that.
It was his decision, wasn't it?
Who said
I couldn't
that?
get away with that.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Go away, don't tell me that. Go away, don't tell me that. Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
That's not what I heard.
What do you want here? Go! Smart kid.
And it's gonna get even worse.
That's terrible.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
I can't
Hey,
take
you're
care of
not
everything
quite as
for everybody.
stupid as you look.
What led you into this poor area? What are you looking for here?
I'm just looking around a bit.
Ha! Then you better not be caught looking around. It would seem that we have a few thieves in the city who would steal stuff from the rich people. The city got.
Someone's gonna do the work.
That's not what I heard.
Who says things like that?
I can't take care of everything for everybody. He can't keep anything to
Go
himself.
away. Don't tell me that.
These are bad times. That's what I've always said.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
I don't want to hear that anymore.
And he works all day too.
These are bad times.
You have to feel sorry.
That's what I've always said.
So I've got you after all.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
That's all just gossip.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
Those are all just rumors.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
That's not what I heard.
You already know what I think.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
Will it ever change?
I don't believe that.
Nobody ever asks me.
You don't say.
That's exactly what I said.
Stop
Really,
right
how
there, you
interesting.
lowlife!
I knew that would be a problem.
That's not what my
That's
husband
totally
thinks.
obvious.
Really? How interesting.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Everybody knows by now.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
He simply talks too much.
Nothing's ever going to change that.
I know that's typical, isn't it?
You already thought as much.
That's why I better shut up.
That's totally obvious.
That's
It's
the
really
first
not
I've
my
heard of it.
problem. I've heard a thing or two.
No idea. You tell me. Things I could tell you.
I already thought as much.
The path of virtue
That's
is
no
long
secret.
and rocky.
You
That's all
mustn't
just
believe
gossip.
everything you hear.
Who said
Can't
that?
rely on that.
You don't say.
You didn't get that from me.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
You already know what I think.
That's not what my husband thinks.
That's the
Really
first
not.
I've heard
Where
of
did
it.
you pick that up then?
I couldn't care less. That will never change.
He really did deserve it.
I couldn't get away with that.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
You mustn't believe
I don't believe this is gonna
I'm
change.
staying out of it. That will never change.
Will it ever change?
It was just like you said.
I've got no time.
Hey, you have no business.
I don't believe this is going to change.
He thinks it's as easy as that.
It was
That's all
like
just
you
gossip.
said.
Wouldn't be so sure.
Inhouse deals out fair punishment.
That's
Can't
terrible.
believe that.
That's no secret.
Who says things like that? I don't believe that.
Don't tell this to anyone.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Now that's typical.
That's not what I heard.
Someone's got to do the work.
That was no big deal.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
You should really have known better.
I don't believe that.
He simply talks too much.
That's not what my husband
Talks too much.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Really didn't deserve that.
It's a bad business.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
I agree with you completely.
Show me your wares.
You're not here to browse through my wares. You're supposed to get me those skins. So get going.
You didn't get that from me.
Show me your wares.
You're not here to browse through my wares. So get going.
You really believe that? There's nothing you can do about it.
That was quite obvious.
That's really not my problem.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Show me your wares.
That's the first I've heard of it. Mustn't believe everything you hear.
He never would have thought of that himself.
Go away, don't tell me that. Go away, don't tell me that. I can't take care of everything for everybody if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
That's really not my problem.
That's an open secret.
As if I didn't have enough problems.
These are
It's a bad business.
Do you really think?
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I won't tell her a thing for now.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
But that's terrible.
He never would have thought of that himself.
That's not what my husband thinks.
Do you really think?
You don't say.
It's really not my problem.
That's what I've always said. I won't tell her.
So I've got you after all.
That's not what I heard.
That's an open secret.
If I
knew that would be a
hadn't seen it with
problem.
my own eyes.
Someone's gonna do the work.
Don't
Really,
say
how
you didn't know
interesting.
that.
Everybody knows by now.
Put down that weapon. See? That wasn't so hard.
These are bad times.
You don't say.
That's what I've always said.
You don't say.
Who says things like that?
And it's going to get even worse.
Who says things like that?
That's an open secret.
I don't want to hear that. We can only wait and see.
Some problems solve themselves. Do you really think? Who said that?
Now that's typical, isn't it?
You don't have to ask me that.
That's an open secret.
And it's gonna get even worse.
That's what I've always said.
And it's gonna get even worse.
Really, how interesting.
That's not what I heard.
I never knew that. Why haven't I heard about
Don't
this?
talk about it.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
He
That
can't
doesn't
keep
surprise me.
anything to himself.
Who says things like that?
That's not what my husband thinks.
Stop right there, you lowlife!
He simply talks too much.
That's an open secret. Who says things like that?
Tell me that isn't true. Why haven't I heard about this before? I hardly know what to believe. Who said that? I've heard a thing or two. I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Who says things like that?
Stop right there, you lowlife!
He'd better shut up.
I can't take care of everything right.
He'd better shut up.
That's terrible.
These are bad times.
Who says things like that?
Someone's gotta do the work.
That's not what I heard.
That's not what I said. That's terrible. Everybody knows by now.
I can't help it.
That's
I wouldn't
what
have
I've
done
always
this. There's nothing you can do about it. What's so bad? I agree with you completely. It's totally obvious. Don't tell me you didn't know that.
That's terrible. That's what I've always said.
You don't say.
That's not what I heard.
Don't tell this to anyone.
Go
It's really
away,
not
don't
my
tell me
problem.
So I've got you after all.
That's been known a long time. You already know what I think. He never knew that.
Anything to himself.
Smart kid. That's all just gossip.
Go away, don't tell me that.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I can't believe that.
Show me your wares.
That's been known a long time.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's terrible.
He thinks he's an easy
I don't
Nobody will
believe
learn
that.
anything from me.
Really, how interesting.
He never would have thought of that himself. It's a bad business.
That's exactly what I said.
You really believe that?
As if I didn't have enough problems.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Nobody ever
That's
asked.
typical, isn't it?
He can't keep anything to himself.
Someone's got to do the work.
Trying to pick another fight with me, are you?
Really? How interesting.
I can't help it.
That's an open secret.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
Now that's
You know your way about the harbor, don't you?
Sure thing. Why?
Works all day, too.
And it's going to get even worse.
What kind of rumors are floating about?
Around here, we don't like people who ask too many questions. Especially not if they're
He simply
strangers.
talks too much. He simply talks too much.
How's the shipping traffic?
The only ship that's come here recently is the Paladin
That's an
ship.
open secret.
It's over there behind the rocky ridge to the southwest.
Who says
Why don't I see any militia?
They don't dare come in here.
Really?
We take care of things ourselves.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
These are bad times.
Everybody knows by now.
Now that's typical, isn't it?
Now that's typical, isn't it?
That's been known a long time.
How are things?
If you want something to drink, you'll have to order it.
I bet you overhear a lot of things.
So what's that to you?
I've always got an open ear for news.
Have you got your purse open then? Every piece of information I give you will cost 10 gold pieces.
Forget it. I'll get my information elsewhere.
All right. I'll go down to 7.
No, I don't need your information that bad.
Hey, wait. All right, 5 gold pieces. But that's my final offer.
Why couldn't you say that right away?
Oh, I'm simply out of shape. But whatever. It's a deal.
Hey, I haven't got time to chat with you. Talk to Cardiff if you want information.
These are bad times.
That's an open secret.
And
I
it
never knew
works all
that.
day, too.
Don't tell this to anyone.
That's really not my problem.
Hey, why haven't I heard about this before?
Tell me about the harbor.
The harbor of Corinus isn't what it used to be. There's nothing but riffraff hanging about. The ships don't come anymore, and trade is dead. This harbor's about to go under.
It's a bad business.
Let's wait and see what happens.